Another technique featured in the 1001 Nights is an early example of the story within a story, or embedded narrative technique. This can be traced back to earlier Persian and Indian storytelling traditions, most notably the Panchatantra of ancient Sanskrit literature. The Nights, however, improved on the Panchatantra in several ways, particularly in the way a story is introduced. In the Panchatantra, stories are introduced as didactic analogies, with the frame story referring to these stories with variants of the phrase, "If you re not careful, that which happened to the louse and the flea will happen to you." In the Nights, this didactic framework is the least common way of introducing the story. Instead, a story is most commonly introduced through subtle means, particularly as an answer to questions raised in a previous tale. The general story is narrated by an unknown narrator, and in this narration the stories are told by Scheherazade. In most of Scheherazade's narrations there are also stories narrated, and even in some of these, there are some other stories. This is particularly the case for the Sinbad the Sailor story narrated by Scheherazade in the 1001 Nights. Within the Sinbad the Sailor story itself, the protagonist Sinbad the Sailor narrates the stories of his 7 voyages to Sinbad the Porter. The device is also used to great effect in stories such as The 3 Apples and The 7 Viziers. In yet another tale Scheherazade narrates The Fisherman and the Jinni. The tale of the Wazir and the Sage Daban is narrated within it. And within that there are 3 more tales narrated.